yet on my computer. It's booting up right now. But hello and welcome back to ATK42 Games. I'm your host as always, Alex. We're starting a little late. My apologies. But welcome back to Silent Film Fridays. Hello, Cat. Mom, you're still on my phone. Yeah, people can't hear you yet. It's definitely Alex's fault and not mine at all. Yeah, 100%. I'll take the blame on this one. Yeah. Alright. You are now on the stream, Mom.
Thanks.
Yeah, just thought I'd let you know.
So, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Silent Film Fridays, where the films are silent and the hosts are not.
Yeah. Okay. Now yeah, go ahead and download the update. Go for it. New version of Lily.
I'm here with Alex, who is your loyal and faithful host.
Yeah.
And I am Dr. Tiffany Knoll. I'm a professor with the Department of Popular Culture at Bowling Green State University. But, Alex, I think you tend to call me something different.
Yeah, Mom.
I'll keep it. By the way, this weekend is Mother's Day. So
Yes.
Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers who are out there. And all of the people who maybe just are mothers for somebody.
Yeah. Happy
Giving
Mother's
birth
Day.
is not a requirement.
True. Okay.
Al, do you realize that it's still saying Minecraft on there? And also Zoro has 2 R's.
Shouldn't. No. Well, I said I'd have to do things to the title anyway, so like...
Yes, Capitan Hammer, you do have a mother, and yes, that counts. Jonathan, hello! Good evening. Zoro One Piece, oh lord.
You know, as you do.
Uh-huh. All right.
Yeah, it does say we're still streaming Minecraft, doesn't it?
Yep, sure does.
That's my bad. I did kind of set this all up in a hurry.
Well, you did, but it's like you had a perfectly understandable distraction.
Yeah, just a bit. Alright. I have the movie all queued up now. Why do we have ad? Oh, I forgot to turn off ads. Let me do that real quick. My apologies.
Jonathan, thank you for the heads up on that. I didn't see an ad, so I'm very grateful that you brought it up.
Yeah, like, I can be kind of bad about that.
Alex, I think we might need to develop a checklist.
Probably. Alright, ads have been switched off. I'm gonna wait for... Hey, you know what? That is hard to argue with.
Honestly, though, I wonder just how many humans chose to take today off because it was Zelda Drop Day. Is it Tears of the Kingdom?
I have no idea. I don't pay too much attention to like new Zelda releases. Although I do really want to play Hyrule Warriors 2. That was
it's Tears of the Kingdom.
Solid.
Sorry, anytime I see a very large horse in any of the Zelda games, I immediately think of what Sam named their horse.
Oh boy.
Do you remember?
It wasn't something appropriate, I remember that much.
It certainly was not. Although it was funny, I was watching a video or something on it, and I just saw this great big black horse and went, oh, that's... insert name of Sam's horse here.
Yeah. Alright.
Oh, golly. Okay, Alex, I gotta say, researching this movie and everything else that goes into it was so much fun.
Hell yeah.
Because Yeah, you just leave out the word horse and you got it, Captain Hammer. Hey, Hoozle. So tonight's movie has a really great intersection of not only movie, but also pulp magazines and comic books. May the F-Horse be with you. Yes, and with you also. Alright, so the story, The Curse of Capistrano, was released in, hang on, I think it's All Story Weekly. Sorry, trying to get back to my notes here. Yes, All Story Weekly, which was a pulp magazine that was published by a guy by the name of Frank Muncie. And boy, howdy do we owe a lot to him. Oh, also, we got our guy Snitz Edwards in there. Yep, he was... Hey, Snitz. Hey, Snitz. He was one of those... He was one of the characters in Phantom of the Opera. He wasn't Joseph Bouquet. He was one of the ones who gathered all of the little dancers around him and was telling them stories about the Phantom.
Oh, sweet. Hey, we love return actors on this show.
You darn right we do. Also, apparently Milton Berle is in this, although it's an uncredited... It's uncredited and it calls him Boy on IMDb. I don't know if I believe that necessarily.
Yes, our favorite character in every movie, Boy.
It's even better when it's unnamed Boy.
Oh yeah. Always fighting with the best boy, though, I imagine.
Oh yeah, always. I love this. Then out of the mystery of the unknown appeared a masked rider who rode up and down the great highway, punishing and protecting and leaving upon the vicious oppressor.
Yeah.
What does it mean to leave upon somebody?
I don't know.
Are you able to hear my keyboard?
I'm not able to.
Okay, good.
Well,
well, yeah. Right off the bat.
He's been visited.
Oh, yes. I mean, literally. This guy is telling the story of how he fucked around and found out. Yeah. There's Smiths! Hey!
Right off the bat.
Okay, Al, I gotta ask, are you streaming to me?
No, but I can be.
Please do, because that way I'm not behind.
Okay, I'm gonna have to pop that up so that I don't, expose stuff. And then share my screen.
You've paused the film. Is that on purpose?
That was on purpose.
Okay.
That way I could do what you just told me to do.
What I asked, but yes.
And you were right. Should have done that earlier.
In an evil hour for no cause, that man beat a native and maimed him for life. Now he bears the mark of Zoro.
I see. I'm not sure how I feel about that one.
Which part?
I mean, I feel like it depends on what the guy was up to. You did say he was fucking around and finding out, but
oh yes. Okay, so what you need to know about the time period in which this is set. This is set during the early 1800s, where the Spanish are still in control of California, so what that means is that all of the indigenous peoples who were there, all of the Mexican migrants who had come up from Mexico, which was also controlled by the Spanish at this point, these folks were not exactly what I would class as ready to attend the Met Gala. if you take my meaning. And frankly, they needed a champion.
Okay.
I mean, indigenous relations have never been great in the history of the United States.
I mean, no,
And
absolutely
that,
not.
we might as well just say the history of North America.
Yeah,
And
that
just call
is.
it a thing.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's far more accurate.
I mean, heck, we
Rip
could
to
also
the Native
go
Canadians.
Well, yeah, First Nations peoples.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not treated well.
no. Ah, Senor Zoro is our only friend.
You know, you gotta have friends with. You gotta be friends with somebody.
Yes. Ah, Don Carlos Pulido. So this story was, like I said, first published in 1919. Oh, I don't know that I actually said that part. Anyway, it was published as a 5-part serial. So with a magazine, what you would have is a story where you would have different chapters published each month.
Uh-huh.
This kind of serialized storytelling also happened a fair bit in newspapers of the time. And pulps pretty much took all of that idea and just amplified it in the best possible way.
Fair. Now, I gotta admit, I'm far more familiar with, I think the film was released in the 90s, The Mark of Zorro.
The Mask of Zoro.
There it is.
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
okay, so Zoro at first really does read like he's a folk hero.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a rich guy, he's looking out for the little guy.
He feels like a richer Robin Hood.
A little bit, except that he actually has more connection to characters like the Scarlet Pimpernel. And we'll get into the Batman connection in a little bit. But the whole point of the Scarlet Pimpernel, which preceded the development of Zorro, was that he acted like a complete idiot in social circles, but he did so to throw people off the scent that he was this heroic figure.
Makes sense.
The Scarlet Pimpernel. We see the same thing here. Now, Don Diego Vega would go through a name change later.
Mm-hmm.
He becomes Don Diego de la Vega, which is how you and I probably know him from The Mask of Zorro.
Yes.
Anthony Hopkins, Antonio Banderas, Catherine Zeta-Jones, who apparently was nicknamed the Welsh Gazelle.
Really?
More about that. Oh, yes.
That's a wild nickname.
Well, first off, she is actually from Wales.
Okay.
And second, I think it was something, a nickname that developed from the production of a horror film.
Why not, right?
I'm sorry, say again?
I honestly thought it had something to do with her legs, but...
Well, she was probably using them to run during the horror film.
That would track.
Yeah. Just
Hey,
a little bit.
Don't you know it's bad luck to have an open umbrella inside?
Well,
Ah. Our hero enters.
yes, he does. And promptly sneezes all over everybody.
That's fair.
Apparently, this was the movie, at least according to the New York Public Library, this was the movie where Douglas Fairbanks changed from a light comedian to one of the great swashbucklers of the silent film era. The very idea that he was ever even considered a light comedian is a little weird, because when we think of him now, he's, sliding down sails and jumping on horses and being temporarily married to Mary Pickford. I mean, he's
So he's gotten around.
Yeah, he's got a very busy life going.
Yeah. 1920.
Oh, your desktop just also flashed.
Yeah, I know. I'm adjusting the stream title.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys.
At least it wasn't anything untoward. We're good.
I mean, I personally think I have a pretty good looking desktop.
I understand. I get it. I do.
It's just, Luna on the moon, doing her thing.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, there we go. Sorry, the stream got a little fuzzy.
Fair.
So I was a bit concerned. Alrighty then.
Is it true he always makes fools of your soldiers? I sure hope so.
Well, snap. If that isn't meant to be a bit of a slight, I don't know what is.
I know, right?
Doing it with sass.
Yeah, put that sword away. You could hurt somebody.
Oh, there's Smith. Okay, honestly, I am so glad to see him.
Oh yeah.
It's the background actors, the character actors that I honestly sometimes find a whole lot more interesting than the star.
I mean, this guy's been around. This is his second appearance on the show, and
yeah,
he's already very memorable.
Honestly, I'm checking his IMDb to see what else he may have been in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and by the way, he's not credited for this. He's just known as... Oof, hang on. There we go. He's just known as Short Innkeeper.
Makes sense. He hasn't exactly been named yet.
He never is in the film.
Exactly.
However, when I'm finding other roles referred to as, like, Oscar Puddleford.
Hell yeah.
Little Husband. Senor Frijole. Yeah, this is a time.
Yeah.
Hypo Jake. Okay, I'm looking up that one because I think we may need to check that out. All right.
Fair.
So, swinging back to this.
Mm-hmm. So to speak.
Uh-huh.
Another.
This is where Thor gets it from.
Yeah. Yeah, me too, man. Like... Oof. Why'd you kill the mug? Didn't do anything to you.
Not that you know of, anyway.
Valid point.
Oh, goodness.
Does he also blend into the shadows and move across the walls?
Clearly. He has a little Nosferatu going. Because who wouldn't?
I mean, a true man of mystery.
Oh, clearly. Oh, buddy.
He seems to be, a little scared of something.
He's struggling, mostly because he's being listed as kind of a ghost. I mean, wouldn't you struggle just a little bit if you were being referred to in that way?
I guess.
Hey, rude.
Yeah, that's... Dude, chill. He is your server. He reserves the right to kick you out on your butt.
Except, do you honestly think he's going to?
No, I do not see that owner having the spine to do so.
Okay,
unfortunately.
The military guy just had the best expression when he turned back toward the... Oh, he also looks like he might be real drunk.
Oh yeah, he's wobbling.
Thoroughly sauced.
But will he fall down?
Can we hope?
I sure do. Insane.
Another way that you know he's a coward is because he made the little guy open the door.
I mean, yeah, he's the guy with the weapon. Like, at that point, he has a better way to stab the person coming in the door, should they be hostile.
Well, you do realize that he seems to understand the first rule of using a sword.
Yeah, point it away from you.
No, the pointy end goes in the other man.
True. That really is rule number 1, isn't it?
According to Don Diego de la Vega when he's training Alejandro. Yes. Oh, getting a little bit of bravado going here.
He's very confident in himself.
Well, if you're so anxious to meet him, pick on a priest or a native and presto, Zoro.
I mean, if that's all it takes.
I really thought that it would be more expensive to invoke this guy. Because, you know, summoning ain't cheap.
True. Oh.
Oh,
that guy's praying.
He is, and he crossed himself like a Catholic.
Yes.
And this is also the time period in which Spanish missions have been established all over California. A bunch of Catholics. We'll talk more about that later, though.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure once we get to a church.
Oh, yeah. Well, you did say exactly how to invoke Zoro. And so what do? You go and you do the dumb thing.
Also, smoking in an enclosed space? Dick move. Yeah, me too, dude.
Oh, the guy who's just on the bench, just kind of going,
Yeah.
So this was made into a movie the year after it was published.
You know, that's an impressive turnaround.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't the only time that something's been adapted quite that fast. I mean, honestly, you get a popular book, quite often you're going to get a movie out of it. Another one that I can think of that had that kind of a fast turnaround was The Great Gatsby. Great Gatsby was released in 1925, and there was a film released the year after. Unfortunately, that film is lost.
Dang.
But I have seen a trailer for it. I have seen a trailer for it. It's out there on the interwebs. It's actually really interesting.
So.
Partly because it utilizes the cover imagery on it.
I mean, that is... I gotta admit, that eye is very striking.
The eyes. There's 2 of them.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, I know.
Well, you aren't an English teacher, so you don't teach it.
No, but I am culturally literate, so I do know what's up.
Valid.
So in addition to this film being made and absolutely taking off, the creator, Johnston McCulley, would release another one in 1922. And from 1922 until 1959, which is when his last one was posthumously published, he wrote 60 Zoro stories.
Dang, dude.
Yeah. And he seems to have written most of them for pulp magazine. So the Curse of Capistrano, which is what this is based on, was published in All Story Weekly. But other Zoro stories would later come out in another magazine that was also published by Frank Munsey. It was called The Argosy.
Fair. Also, very bold to just throw beans at this man.
You know, when you got a bowl of something that you can just use like that.
I understand that pocket sand is very powerful. However...
Pocket sand. So not only was this film an absolute success, but it also inspired remakes over and over and over and over again.
I mean, yeah, this fight has been thoroughly enjoyable to watch.
I like how he catches the stool on his sword. That's what you call making use of resources.
Oh, absolutely.
So in addition to this adaptation, there was an adaptation that was released in 1940 starring Tyrone Power. It was serialized for television in 1957 by Walt Disney. And it's also shown up a number of other times. Let's see, where else? During the 1960s and 1970s. And by the way, this is coming from Zoro.com, so I am pretty sure we can trust it. During the 1950s. Sure. Yeah. And 1960s. Numerous Zoro movies were made in Europe. The most notable was Zoro, starring Alain Delon as the masked hero in a French-Italian co-production. In 1974, yet another remake, The Mark of Zoro, another remake of The Mark of Zoro, starring Frank Langella, was made for U.S. television. Zoro didn't just stop being influential in the 70s. We had Zoro the Gay Blade, which was released in the 1980s and starred George Hamilton. It was a farce. We had an animated series called The New Adventures of Zoro that was released between 1981 and 1983. And that was on CBS Saturday mornings. Yes, that was during my childhood. No, I didn't watch it.
That's fair.
Disney produced another Zoro series in 83 as well, Zoro and Son, which was another spoof on the character.
I mean, yeah, they clearly got a child in there to, appeal to a younger audience.
Oh, obviously. You got a POV character, there you go.
Yeah.
So in addition to that, by the time we hit the 90s, they are still remaking this. There was a live-action series produced by New World Television. It was a co-production between a U.S. company, a French company, and an Italian company. And then, let's see.
Ooh. Nice.
Yep.
Going into the Batcave.
Da-da-da-da.
Or the Z Cave? The Z Stable. There we go.
Maybe... It's referred to as the Lair of the Fox.
Didn't have to slaughter Disney like that. False.
Oh.
Disney deserves everything that's coming to them.
In addition.
Yes.
So, we are still going through... Apparently, there was another animated series, 52 episodes, Japanese-style animation, released through Mondo Television of Italy in 1992.
Okay.
And it just keeps going from there. Holy catfish. It seems to be recurring every couple of years. through the 90s.
I mean, yeah, Zoro's a pretty interesting character.
He is, and I also find it really interesting the way that he was presented by Disney in relation to other things like the Swamp Fox and Davy Crockett and some of the other stories that end up being presented as kind of an American mythology.
Mm-hmm.
Except that Zoro wasn't a mythological 18th century figure. He was very definitely a 20th century creation.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, just in case you thought maybe we were done with Zoro, oh no. In the 2000s, there was an original ballet. There's a musical.
I understand the musical. Ballet?
Yeah.
Huh.
San Francisco's Smoen Ballet produced an original ballet in May of 2003. Apparently it got really great reviews.
Okay, he just came out of that clock.
Gee, I wonder where that comes from.
Hmm.
Or what that, influences later.
Yeah, no kidding.
So it looks like Disney's not done with Zorro yet.
I don't see why they would be.
There's a reboot of the 1950s TV series that's in production.
There you go. I was just about to say, they have so many different versions of Zoro to work with. Like,
it looks to me like the one that is being produced by Disney Plus, which is starring Wilmer Valderrama from That 70s Show.
mm-hmm.
But the CW is also producing a modern day series
Of Zoro?
starring a female Zoro.
Okay.
It's also being directed by Robert Rodriguez. So, yeah.
CW has not... It's very middle of the road, in my opinion.
It was kind of... I mean, it's okay. Don't get me wrong. But there's still a fair bit where you look at it, you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like I missed something by him dropping that handkerchief.
Yeah.
All right, and welcome to the love interest. Screams in Riverdale. Yikes.
I mean, yeah, after that video. Oh boy.
Thank you, Captain Hammer.
Mm.
The thing about Zoro is that Zoro and the pulps in which these stories were being published turned out to be tremendously influential. Not just for the short term, but it's also turned out to have a whole lot to do with the shaping of popular culture in the present day. One of the big pieces of media in the present is an idea called media convergence, where every time a new form of media is developed, a property is then, say something starts out as a pulp, like this.
Right.
say something, then that thing then goes on to become a radio program.
Yeah.
And then a movie. And then a television series. That's media convergence. We start really seeing it kick off with Superman as of 1938. So he makes his debut in Action Comics #1.
And then we get cartoon.
We not only get cartoon, we also get a radio program. We end up with a very, like a 50-minute film that comes out in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
Live action. Yeah, it just keeps going from there. And that helped us really set the standard for media properties, because it wasn't just, here, let's watch something. It's also all of the, what's the word? Merchandising.
Well,
that
of
goes
course.
along with it.
You know, I really wish we could watch the Max Fleischer stuff on
the
Silent Film Friday. Because I really do like that interpretation of Superman.
Me too.
Like, he's so much less powerful. And, like, just kind of cooler.
Go ahead.
He's just kind of
also,
cooler.
Lois Lane.
Oh, yeah.
God. She's
absolutely
just like,
badass.
Oh, yeah. Love
From
that.
the get-go.
Oh.
Glad that
you mean
never
this
changed
story?
with her character.
I love you mean this story that's really dangerous? Yeah, I'm going to go hop in my private plane and fly over.
Yeah.
And go check it out.
Yeah, you know, as Lois Lane does.
Yep. I shall invite you and your parents to occupy my townhouse while I am away at my hacienda. You will see how richly it is furnished.
What's a hacienda?
It's a house. It's a
Got me there.
It's a large country house.
Okay. A bi-monthly curated box of snacks.
Exactly.
Yes. Excuse me.
Okay, so he's sniffing his snuff there.
Yeah.
But he's also made a puppet out of his handkerchief. Okay, that's dorky, but it's also kind of sweet.
Yeah. Well, he does play the fool, after all.
Oh boy, does he.
A totally normal and reasonable thing that normal humans often do. Yes.
Make puppets out of their handkerchiefs? Okay, I accept.
You think you've said everything? That's a mighty audacious claim.
Maybe he's just bored with the conversation.
Most likely.
Mm-hmm.
Because in order to have said everything, then he must have been there for several centuries.
Was he chewing on his hat?
Yes.
Awesome.
He's got some funky stuff going on with his hair.
Of
Look
course.
at those swirls.
He's doing it to make himself look like a dork.
Oh, you know what? No. No, this is just another case of anime protagonist.
Well, it's a good thing that it's not in color, because we probably see that his hair is blue.
Oh, yeah, true. Just electric blue.
Okay, so is she interested, or is she just... oh, he isn't a man, he's a fish! Dude.
Oh, wow, that is one of the best descriptors of another human being I've ever heard. Woof.
If he's a fish, I guess it's time to throw him back.
Clearly. She was not impressed.
No. We do not know if he is from Ja, Kappenhammer, but one can hope. Oh, hey there.
I mean, yeah, if you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah. All right, so we've got our masked man here who's going to set right what once went wrong. No, wait. No, that's either Sam Beckett or Ben's song, depending on which version of Quantum Leap you're watching.
Fair.
Oh gosh, I love how she just slaps him.
He's just He's just sitting there smiling and taking it. I mean,
oh my goodness. So we've got a character who reads like the Scarlet Pimpernel, and also a folk hero. But what he really is a pulp hero. And the 19 teens through about the 1950s were really the golden age for the adventure pulps.
Okay.
I know I keep using that word.
Yeah.
So,
could you perhaps give it a definition?
You betcha.
Thank you. There's also
So-
something else you've been saying that I want to ask about, but I cannot for the life of me remember it right off the top of my head.
Okay, well, you think about it, and if it comes back, we're good.
Will do.
All right. So, I keep saying pulp magazines, and usually in the contemporary sense, when we think of that, we usually think of pulp fiction. Well, believe it or not, and I'm no Tarantino fan, not at all. I think he's weird, and I don't like his attraction to feet. It's weird.
Fair enough.
But pulp magazines were a form of entertainment that were developed by a guy named Frank Muncie. And although we don't usually hear a whole lot about Muncie outside of comic history, we actually owe him a tremendous debt when it comes to popular culture and contemporary media. So pulp magazines got their start in 1896 and had everything to do with garbage. According to the Comic Book History of Comics, publisher Frank A. Muncie found a use for paper production byproduct. So you'd make really nice paper, like stationery kind of paper, and there would be this runoff that would just be the additional paper bits and fibers that weren't used.
Okay.
So what Muncie figured out he could do was to compress it and generate a cheap, grainy paper made out of this pulp.
Aha.
And this excellent use of recycling led to nickel magazines and the dominant form of mass genre prose fiction in the first half of the 20th century.
Cool.
These things were incredibly popular. They were inexpensive, and they catered to almost every genre on the market. So you've got these nickel magazines that would include a full novel and several short stories in every issue.
Dang.
And the authors weren't
That's
too
a
concerned
bargain.
about... I know! And the authors weren't too concerned about making this refined literature.
I mean,
So
for that price, would you?
So these had sex and violence and heroism and space and brave kids and scary villains and monsters and cowboys, just to name a few things.
Just, anything and everything under the sun. That sounds awesome.
These stories were described as being worth more than the paper they were printed on.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And like I said, they really did shape the popular culture we know today, from Indiana Jones to the MCU.
Wow.
So these pulp magazines started publishing comic strips in the latter 1920s. And these comic strips were completely different than what was showing up in newspaper, because not only did they have adventure storylines, but they also had a new style of art. So the comic book history of comics identifies the development of serialized comic strips in pulps as one of the sources for a significant innovation. The development of a realistic illustration style for non-comedic material. This helped to merge illustration and cartooning, cartooning was typically comedic.
Okay.
It was meant to get a gag across.
Mm-hmm.
But when you merge illustration with cartooning, and you come up with the kind of figures that we usually think of for comics, like Superman, Batman, and so on, it was new.
Okay.
Cartooning wouldn't do for the serious business of telling these serious stories, you know. And
how could it?
I know. So you end up with characters like Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon and Tarzan, each of whom ended up being adapted for screen later on.
Yeah.
Just within a few years, in fact. This also helped to really shape the kind of stories that were being told in radio, because radio was becoming, at least by the late 1920s, one of the dominant forms of household media in the United States.
Well, yeah, it was relatively...
It was everywhere.
Yeah.
So I keep bringing up pulps. Well, now you know why.
Well, thank you for explaining that.
No worries.
It's fascinating.
Okay, so we got this other guy sniffing around.
I mean, yeah, we gotta have a romantic rival.
I think it's Captain Ramon.
I see. Wait, do you mean the drunkard from the bar?
I think so. No, that was Sergeant Gonzalez.
Ah, my mistake.
That's right. Drink that booze. Okay, is it me, or does Mom there not look too impressed?
Yeah. She looks a little Oh, yeah, no, that looked like a death stare.
He should die. Okay.
You must die. Look at that.
Honestly, it's like twin death glares.
Exactly. Shooting lasers right through his forehead.
And hey, oh God, right there.
You can't just throw your lit cigarette like that.
Don't you tell Douglas Fairbanks what to do. I mean, first
You know,
off, he's
I
dead.
hear
He
there's-
can't hear you.
True.
You hear that what now?
I hear there are forest fires in California. Most commonly.
Okay, he just threw himself out the window backwards.
Yeah, he does that.
Okay.
Often caused by gender. Exactly. My point exactly. Like, You just can't. You can't go throwing lit sources like that.
Okay, here we go again with the some 10 minutes elapse when.
Guys, just say meanwhile. It's so much shorter. It comes across great.
We seek the vulture. Zoro. I thought Zoro meant fox.
Yeah, well, you know.
Whoa. Okay.
Dang.
Time for shade. It looks like the stream's a little bit blurry, Alex.
There's not much I can do about that one.
Okay.
Unless I restart the stream.
I think we can give that a pass.
Yeah.
Well, okay, how about if we ask those people who are actually watching?
Yeah, what's
How's
it
it
looking
looking
like?
for everybody else?
And to answer Capitan Hammer's question, how long is it? And meanwhile, I'd say it's however the writer needs it. However long the writer needs it to be. Personally.
Flexible idea, that meanwhile.
Exactly.
Now, for those of you who've seen the, I think, 1998 Mask of Zoro, this should have some fairly familiar beats.
I mean, he is doing a lot of jumping in and out of windows, but I haven't seen him swing on a chandelier yet, so...
Hey, we're only 51 minutes into this. There's still time.
True, and I did just see the Chekhov's gun of chandeliers, so...
Yes, but is it made of antlers?
No, it looks like crystal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well. Alright, so we've got... Is there going to be...
Chekhov's chandelier.
Chekhov's chandelier.
If a chandelier is hung in a scene, it must be swung upon.
I love that, though.
Hopefully of saving the small remnant of their passions.
Possessions, dear.
Possessions. I sure can read. Oh boy. You know, that is a pretty nice hat, not gonna lie.
Oh, I just realized. So, Diego Vega's servant is named Bernardo.
Okay.
And in the Anthony Hopkins, Antonio Banderas film, Diego de la Vega goes undercover as Alejandro's servant, and his name is Bernardo.
Solid.
That's a nice touch.
Absolutely. Real callback.
You know, I can't take my eyes off the chandelier now because I'm totally expecting somebody to go swinging on it.
You're welcome.
Thanks ever so much. By the way, that is now a Sounds of Our House.
Perfect.
Chekhov's chandelier. If a chandelier's in a scene, it must be swung upon. Oh, and by the way, Sounds of Our House has a Silent Film Fridays edition.
Oh, beautiful.
So I am keeping track of that sort of thing. Oh, and for those of you
we
who
have enough of them. I could do my first bit of editing.
What do you mean?
Oh, you know, just compilation video.
Yeah, we can talk.
Yeah.
I mean, I have been keeping track, so...
That is helpful information.
And if Twitter hadn't gone to garbage, I'd still be publishing Sounds of Our House there.
Understandable.
But there's no way.
Yeah, it kind of is a dumpster fire at this point.
Dumpster fire? Honey, it's Chernobyl over there.
Okay.
Seriously,
Simpsons
they've had a
tire
nuclear
fire.
meltdown. Did you say Simpsons tire fire?
Yes.
Good.
Someone dropped a match once, and it never stopped burning.
Yeah, well, so long as they're not Silent Hilling it.
Mm-hmm.
Although, I'm kind of beginning to wonder here.
I mean, is it getting that bad? The old tire fire of '89. Exactly. Cat knows what I'm talking about.
I know, Aaron. I know that there's a wish for a place to go that isn't going to suck.
Mm.
Maybe, if we're very lucky, such a thing will finally emerge.
Perhaps.
The daughter of a man so out of favor with the governor should be more friendly to the governor's friend. Ew, coercion.
Yes,
Well,
but there are limits.
If you're gonna make him a villain, I think you found a good way to do it.
True. Sexual assault is easy to hate.
Well, yeah, and if you don't believe me, just talk to the jury in the E. Jean Carroll case that just finished up in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm on about?
Nope.
E. Jean Carroll filed a lawsuit against Donald Trump alleging rape and defamation. Mm-hmm. Defamation is an attack on character with malice and intent.
Yeah.
And it was a civil trial, so it met with a jury, or there was a jury that deliberated, and they decided that while there wasn't necessarily enough evidence to be able to call it rape or battery, as they call it in the state of New York,
mm-hmm.
what they could call it was sexual abuse. And yes, they agreed with the allegation of defamation. The award is $5 million.
That's a pretty tidy sum.
Yeah, I suspect she'll never see a dime of it.
Probably not.
Well,
she's
also
legally required to see pay on that.
Unless he keeps it locked up in appeals courts.
True.
Okay, that cut on his neck is something that we also see echoed in the 98 version.
True.
3 men, 3 cuts. The Memento of California, Don Raphael. Jesus, I know that movie way too well. Okay, if you can do that sort of thing on your back, interesting.
Yeah.
How tall was Douglas Fairbanks? He doesn't look very. Then again, tall men in Hollywood, either in the present or in the
in
past.
heels. He is in rather sizable heels.
It's like Robert Downey Jr. then.
Oh, absolutely. He is not a very tall man.
He was 5'9". That's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Well, okay, somewhere between 5'7" and 5'9", evidently. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what that sound... Oh! Carias, you don't need to sleep on that painting. Even if I am going to end up altering it at some point. It's okay, cat hair gives texture to paint, right?
Yeah, it gives a little bit of grit.
Adios, senorita. Okay, so just saved her life. That does tend to make one a little bit, I guess, grateful is the word we're looking for here.
Yeah. It proves that they definitely have your best interests at heart.
Usually.
Even
yes.
if, it's just platonic. And that is definitely somebody I'd want to have around.
Oh, wow. I give you freely the kiss he would have taken.
Solid.
So long as there's nobody in the background yelling, he is biting that female.
Thanks, Lala.
Lol.
Lol. My bad.
Drink some water.
Yeah, fair enough. I just did
Oh,
wind up a
wow.
little bit more.
Drink some
Good.
water.
Wow, the weapons
Drink
you
some water.
wield pierce deep, senorita. Oof.
Check your posture.
That's fair.
Yerp.
I have not been sitting straight this entire stream.
When morning came, life seemed lovelier to Lolita, and romance beat high in her retelling.
I mean, makes sense.
In other words, it was really great, and I'm really glad that he saved me.
Yep.
Alright. So, as far as Zoro's connection to Batman,
Mm-hmm.
in a very real sense, Batman had everything to do with the Zoro had everything to do with the development of Batman. In both on the page and off the page.
I can tell.
In universe, in the DCU,
Mm-hmm.
the movie that Bruce Wayne and his parents go to see the night that his parents are murdered in Crime Alley is The Mark of Zorro.
Totally
It's
is.
this movie. Now, there's some fluctuation between it being the 1920 version and the 1940 remake.
Mm-hmm.
But it is absolutely the Mark of Zorro. And, well, Zorro's look, Zorro's cave, Zorro's butler, Zorro's clock.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little on the nose there, ain't it, Bruce?
Yeah.
The world's greatest detective, those are some pretty stupid moves.
They're stupid necessarily. Derivative, yes.
Fair.
Additionally, so Bruce Wayne decided to model himself on the character of Zorro. But, as we find out in Batman the Animated Series, that wasn't his only influence.
Mm-hmm.
In Batman the Animated Series, there is a character known as the Grey Ghost, who is also very influential. The Grey Ghost actually does have a character on which it's based. The Shadow.
Ah, yes. The Shadow knows.
Uh-huh. He's a detective.
Yeah.
He has a massive... Oh, geez. Okay, honestly, though, just... I can see why she's looking at him and just going, oh, no, thank you. No, no, no. No, thank you. So, between Zoro and the Shadow and other pulp heroes of the time, Bob Kane and Bill Finger, Batman's creators, developed Bruce Wayne. And he made his debut in Detective Comics number 27 in 1939.
Solid.
I like the idea that the two characters can coexist.
Yeah.
And we see other instances of Zorro's influence, not just on Batman and other DC properties, but also through movies as recent as Shrek.
I don't know.
Who was
Shrek
Puss in
was
Boots?
a bit of a while ago, but Puss in Boots was rather recent.
Puss in Boots was a character who made his debut in Shrek.
Yeah.
And he's voiced by Antonio Banderas, who had just played Zorro.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. Okay. Honestly, Capitan, that sounds amazing. Almost as good as what Michael's proposing right now. Al, I don't know if Dad's told you about this, but he's wanting to develop a character who is... Oh, very nice. He's wanting to develop a character who is, in essence, the Tick.
Excellent.
But not as a superhero. He's like a barbarian or something.
I mean... Yeah, he kind of would have to be a barbarian.
A bardbarian, dear.
Oh, well... I see.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm not yawning because of you.
You're good.
I promise. Is he making another puppet?
I'd like to see the character art on it, honestly. It's possible.
Yeah, Captain Ramon shouldn't have assaulted you,
Yes.
is what he's essentially saying there. Yeah, I'm gonna take a nap, and then I'm gonna go up and yell at him. What I want to know is how Douglas Fairbanks learned all these tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. I mean, probably just time.
Probably. Something else that this picks up on is a fascination with the Western that, just in case you haven't noticed, has not gone away.
Hmm.
Although this doesn't necessarily follow the traditional you know, cowboy, good guy, person who isn't a white guy as the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is... It still taps into that adventure out in the West. But before the West was... Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this. Before the West was civilized. I know you can't see the air quotes, Alex, but they're here.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. Hey there, Seychell. How you doing? So, Mexico declared its independence from Spain in, I want to say, 1820 or 1821.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, California went from being a Spanish holding to being a Mexican holding. Oh, hi. Audrey the garbage can got all excited again, Alex.
Of course. She'll do that.
Yeah.
So
Mexico, California was a Mexican holding as of the early 1820s. The Spanish king at the time, he was one of the Ferdinands, was apparently considered such a complete failure as a ruler that it was on his watch that he lost most of the North American holdings that Spain had had.
Whoops.
Including, but not limited to, California and other areas over there. I'm also trying... I don't think he was responsible for the Louisiana Purchase. We'll just find out, just to be sure.
You know, people were so busy back in the day.
You're trying to multitask being an asshole?
Yeah. You know, you gotta have a living.
Okay. Louisiana Purchase. Was bought from France, not from Spain. My apologies.
No, you're good.
Okay. The U.S. has had at least 2 wars with Mexico. One of them was in the 1800s. The other one was in the early 19-teens. And it was following the first Mexican War, or Mexican-American War, that there was a treaty that ended up ceding a good portion of the Southwest, including present-day California, to the U.S. Apparently, California Admission Day as a state was September 9th, 1850.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a sizable federal troop presence in that area, in not only California, but also over on the coast, so Huntington Beach and so forth, right up to the American Civil War. In fact, there's a location in Huntington Beach, California called the Old Barracks. And one of the, selling points of the Old Barracks when it comes to contemporary visitors is that there was apparently a Christmas time dinner that led to, that was pretty much the last thing that a number of really high-ranking officers attended before they ended up being deployed both as Confederates and federal officers. So it's just kind of an interesting moment there.
Yeah, no kidding.
now he's looking to rouse some rabbles.
Yeah, why
He's
not?
he's also assuming people can read.
That's true.
That's a bold statement.
Then again, the bounty board was also assuming people could read.
The bounty board was written in Spanish and was magically translated.
Gotcha. Fair enough.
I will say that the movie's universal translator is a heck of a thing.
True.
Alright, so what I was trying to get at is the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo is what led to California becoming a U.S. acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
There was a second treaty known as the Gadsden Purchase, which is probably less treaty and more purchase, that led to the rest of the territory that we now consider to be the U.S. to be acquired. Oh, and fun fact, I believe the Gadsden Purchase, no wait, was it the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo or the Gadsden Purchase? One of them led to the acquisition of the state of what would become the state of Utah.
I see.
Oh, there's a whole Mormon connection there, but
yeah.
I can explain later. For anybody who's wondering why I'm not getting into that, we're watching a movie about Zoro. We're not watching a movie about Mormons.
Yeah. We can cover that one if and when we get to it.
Alex, I can't tell you how much I just want to show Johnny Lingo on this channel.
Is it in the public domain?
It is not.
Then we can't.
But I am fairly certain that the LDS Church is not going to come after us.
You know what? That's fair, and we could just do it as a Twitch special.
Yes, we could.
Oh boy.
Mahana.
I'd be shocked if they didn't.
If they didn't what? Come after us? Boy,
why would we? We're exposing people to their propaganda. Sorry, excuse me. Religious material.
Oh, Alex. Okay, honestly though, can they just stop whipping people and beating people? I mean, I realize it's a big ask, but please, for the love of, try.
Fair. Yeah. Like, that's not cool, guys.
Oh. Well, if you're going to show yourself as a loyalist, you better go find Zoro. Let's go. He is insolent and he's a canine. I thought he was a fox. Oh, I'm sorry, but it's adventure, let's do it for sport?
Yikes.
Hunting people for sport. Yep.
Y'all are fucked up.
Y'all, it's not even Jacques de Whipper, or Z Whipper. Yeah, it's even more dangerous when you got Zoro on the other end of it.
True. I mean, our hero is not to be trifled with.
Oh, clearly not.
For good reason.
Alright, we're now getting down to the last, I would say, half hour. So, it looks like it's going to pick up, so buckle up, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
It is a gallop from here on.
Arrest them, throw them into jail. I've had quite enough of these blue-blooded palitos.
Yeah, honestly,
Pulidos?
Pulidos? I'm guessing.
Fair.
Out of all the languages I don't speak, Spanish is also on that list.
Yeah. Same. At the haunt of Don Diego's father. We're doing shadow puppets.
There's something about that I find utterly charming.
I like it.
He has shadow puppet game.
True.
Not really sure how this happened, but here we are.
Hey, it means dexterous fingers. All I'm saying.
Uh-oh.
Hello, Father. You caught me with my magic tricks again.
Yeah, sorry about that, Dad. He doesn't say at all. Oh, thanks, Sage Hill. Appreciate that. Al, you said hi, Dad.
Sage, what do you mean it's not even Sage Hill?
Okay, you said hi, Dad, and Sage Hill said hello.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Sage Hill. Was I not supposed to out him? My bad.
What? What? Oh, it's absolutely okay. He's acknowledged as your dad.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I'm acknowledged as your mother, so...
True, right in the opening. A little bit of dad humor there. Love it.
Pardon the intrusion. We'll be on our way. We can clearly see that your son is too much of a wet sock to do anything. Well, that's interesting. Hey, you know all that booze that I have in my cellar?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's enjoy that.
Why not? Little do they know, Bruce Wayne is actually...
But do you see where I hit the Bruce Wayne thing so hard?
Oh, absolutely.
You can't miss it.
It's so obvious.
Yes. I love the idea that Batman was inspired by a character developed specifically for pulp magazines. Because if that ain't the whole thing with comics, I don't know what is.
Fair.
If I'm remembering correctly, this one was also released by United Artists. Although the title card was saying something about being copyright. It was copyright Douglas Fairbanks Productions. So I'm looking up distribution. That must have been for United Artists. Sorry, Dad.
Sure.
I get tired if it's too late. I need to go to bed now.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, honestly, I get it.
Yeah.
It gets late, you get tired, you're done.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Oh, and by the way...
No harm in saying I'm done and saying goodnight.
Exactly. If anybody is interested in reading the story on which this is based, archive.org has a copy of it on their site. And there's the link in the chat.
Excellent.
It was distributed by United Artists, and the production company was Douglas Fairbanks Pictures Corporation. Apparently, this movie was added to the Library of Congress National Film Registry as of 2015.
Thank you. I'll save that for later.
Why
Excellent.
the statement?
Yeah, no kidding.
Zoro's calling out everybody right now.
I mean, when you're angry,
Yeah.
and he has every right to be angry. Like, these guys are awful.
Yeah. Well, they're also complacent.
Yeah. Oh, there's the chandelier again.
Swing from it, though. That's the big question.
Looks like candles. Please, you have to swing from the chandelier. Please swing from the chandelier.
Where he may, in fact, do so.
Justice for all. And for all a good night.
Actually, he also... There is an adaptation of The Three Musketeers as well.
Yeah.
For reasons
Fair.
known to me, my name must be my secret. Yeah, we get it. Thank you. Okay. Sage Hill, I'm so glad that you and Sia can see clearly on that one. Time to swing from the chandelier.
Mm.
Oh, and by the way, in the original version of Batman's origin story, it is this version. Because Batman debuted in 1939, which is the year before the 1940 remake.
Solid.
Yep. Hey, yeah, let's go ahead and arrest his potential allies. That seems like a good idea. And yet, if you think about it, that is very in keeping with the whole hero forms an emotional attachment, and then the object of that emotional attachment is at risk. Okay, for anybody who's just joining us, because I see that we've got some folks who've been kind of drifting in and out, tonight's film is The Mark of Zorro, 1920, and is part of the Silent Film Fridays film series.
Yeah. It's in the title.
You know, Al, I think we might need to start filming some kind of a midweek commercial to keep people informed of what's up.
Fair enough. Might not be a bad idea.
Speaking of, we need to figure out what we're going to do for next week.
Sure.
But let's go ahead and, you know...
Let's put
let
that
her
off
be
till later.
Yeah, let's let her be traumatized in jail first.
Yeah. Let's give her a moment.
I'm sorry, Al. What were you just saying? Alex?
I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You're good.
Thought you were.
No worries.
I took my headset off for a moment.
Ah.
Oh, also, friendly reminder for anybody who wants to be able to go back and rewatch these episodes, there is a YouTube channel.
Yeah, a YouTube channel, and some of them ended up on Patreon because YouTube is awful sometimes. You don't have to pay to watch them, just like on YouTube. And better yet, ad-free on Patreon.
Drink some water.
Hey!
Also correct.
Thank you. That's an excellent point.
Chug, chug, chug.
Please don't.
There will be no chugging. Is that the guy who got a Z marked on his neck?
Fair. I do believe so.
Good. Oh my goodness. You know, also the arrest of the blue bloods here
Mm-hmm.
and waiting for a rescue from a mysterious figure who may or may not be who he seems. It really has me feeling Scarlet Pimpernel.
Aha! There it is.
Nice, cat. Nice.
We need to go investigate the Scarlet Pimpernel if we have any video reference.
I will have to see what I can find on that.
Fair.
But because it seems like we're kind of slipping into some kind of an adventure kick.
I mean, yeah, it's summer.
Sense?
Perfect time for action.
Swear it's not the company, Alex.
No, you're good.
Alright, there's a 1934 version. I love that. My dude, you rescuing me from jail, not helping my profile at all. Thanks.
Yeah, that's an excellent point.
Alright, it looks like the earliest Scarlet Pimpernel I can find is 1934.
Okay, so a little out of range.
It is out of range, unfortunately.
Unfortunate.
But I'm sure we can talk about something else that just popped into my head in a minute.
Excellent. Alright, so what is the Scarlet Pimpernel's big gimmick?
His big gimmick is exactly what you're seeing with Zoro here.
Okay, swords and guns.
No.
No?
No. Swords and an extensive network of people. Basically, the Scarlet Pimpernel, or Sir Percy Blakeney, is trying to rescue members of the nobility during the French Revolution and the Reign of Terror to ensure that they're not going to just be beheaded.
Pumpernickel.
husband. He also has a vested interest in trying to save the Dauphin of France, or the heir presumptive, following the execution of King Louis XVI.
Okay.
So, additionally, his wife has no idea that he has this heroic identity.
Oh.
But she kind of gets hints every now and again.
Of course.
Okay.
I mean, you don't live in the same house as a superhero and not have hints thrown at you in the face on occasion that they are a superhero.
Alex, is it my imagination, or are those horses on fast forward?
Those horses are absolutely on fast forward. We love horses in the early days of cinema. They do not care about the laws of physics.
No. It's like they found an additional gear on the horse or something.
Yeah. They don't call it horsepower for nothing.
Oh, Alex. It's bad,
Lost
but you're
a
right.
viewer for that one.
Oh.
Understandable. Have a nice day.
Wait, did they actually say something?
No.
They just jetted.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, you know, if you can't scare off viewers.
An interesting sign. Okay, so he was here. Now what? I see. Bold.
That was a challenge.
Mayhaps.
I'm gonna go eat breakfast. Come on down.
Mayhaps even bold and sexy of him.
Well, maybe. It could very well be.
Yes. He's very lackadaisical. I love it.
He knows he's the hero of the piece,
Yeah.
so that does tend to help.
True.
Yeah, if you're asking where Lolita is, make sure you keep her away from Vladimir Nabokov.
Also, that was a smooth transition from Zoro to standard civilian.
That right there, the stunts that he's doing, these were really the first time that you got to see Douglas Fairbanks doing these kind of stunts. This is what helped to put him on the map as a swashbuckler.
I mean, it makes sense.
Sorry.
I mean, yeah, why would you check the bushes?
Here, facepalm.
Yeah.
I believe they did, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Okay, they mirrored some of these very same things in the Anthony Hopkins version. I really like that attention to detail when you get that kind of an homage. That's lovely. Okay, and honestly, some of these are just fun.
I mean, yeah. A church is neutral ground, guys.
It should be.
Yep.
That's not Zoro at all. Oh no.
Definitely not.
I'm not Zoro. Say, in watching this, I am stunned that there was not a sequel produced. The next time that you see Zoro on screen is 1940.
I mean,
but after that,
most of these guys are unpaid extra, or unpaid or barely paid extras.
well, the extras aren't really the issue. As of 1922, there was additional source material that could have been adapted into another movie.
That's fair.
And Douglas Fairbanks was still in shape enough that he could have done this. Because remember, The Black Pirate, 1925. Oh, again, the insurance people probably had a kitten.
Yeah, probably.
Oh no! Now lacking torso awareness.
In theory. Of course, he said he was going to get breakfast in the village. There we go. Mission accomplished.
He no longer knows how to use a chair.
Yeah, well, he does have to keep an eye out for anybody coming to kill him.
No, they would have made money hand over fist had they made another one.
True.
But at this point, the idea of sequels was not something that had really taken hold the way that it has now.
I mean, we live in the age of the sequel, I hear.
The sequel, the prequel, the delayed sequel. Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Just
so
like,
we saved the
where-
damsel.
Where does this fit into the timeline? Where does Barbie going into space fit into the timeline?
I don't know. Okay, there's the chandelier again.
Yep. By the end of the movie. It seems like climax. Yeah,
Yes,
he
I
won't
am
mind if
friends
I
with
trash.
myself.
Yeah, he won't mind if I trash his house.
No, not at all.
Don't mind the secret clock entrance.
Honestly, seeing that.
Yeah. Ma'am.
I know. Okay. Oh, Bernardo, you are having a difficult day.
Ma'am.
You know, that is actually something that I teach about, Kat. Jonathan, we're getting old.
I see. There's barely enough time between the original and the sequel. In older voice, I remember when there used to be at least 3 years between sequels. Well, if you look at Bethesda's release schedule...
There were 3 years between sequels, and we liked it.
And Elder Scrolls. I don't know.
Oh, I don't want Elder Scrolls 6.
They're working on
No.
it.
No! Why? Make it stop.
I do want it. I also want it.
What now? Rude. So what you're saying is you want younger scrolls instead of Elder Scrolls.
Essentially.
Oh, you couldn't win this woman for yourself, and your house is a rendezvous for her and her bandit lover. Dramatic much?
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh my gosh, did you see that jump?
He does not fuck around.
No. Meanwhile, she's just like, wait, what? I like that he's clearing the floor first. You know?
Yeah. I mean,
gotta make a dance floor.
you gotta watch your footing.
You know, I'm sorry to say, I think his secret identity is out of the bag.
A bit.
I know that blade.
Ooh, what a threat.
We have had that conversation, Al.
True.
It's kind of like when people start cluing in about Clark Kent and Superman.
Yeah.
It's like, y'all, were you really not paying attention?
Yeah, like... observe the heel. Something.
Everybody backs up. What shall I do?
Good question.
Yes, pushing for a free and independent California.
Yes.
Except that at this point, Diego Vega is still... he's still nobility. So does that mean he has to pitch himself out with the rest of the garbage?
Good question.
Oh! Whoa! Maybe don't go cutting the ears off. That's not okay.
Yeah. Diego, I don't think... Oh,
I think
boy.
that dude there needs to, like, cool his jets as far as trying to demonstrate loyalty. Oof. That's a very, very large concern.
Absolutely. You know, it's entirely possible. It's entirely possible that he said that, you know, just assholes in general.
Uh-oh. I think she's figured it out.
Yeah.
And I love like Zoro. He never did swing on that chandelier. I feel cheated.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh. One last magic trick.
Cool. That is
has
an
a fan on
impressive
it.
power.
Yes. Lowering the curtain. Now watch her hands. And that, friends, is 1920's The Mark of Zorro. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, that was beautiful.
This has been fun.
Absolutely.
All right. Now, Alex, I have a recommendation for next week.
Yeah?
I think we need to take a look at some early Alfred Hitchcock.
Really?
Specifically, 1926 or 27, depending on which resource you're looking at. The film The Lodger. A story of the London fog.
Okay, I'm down.
This movie has everything to do with Jack the Ripper. It's sometimes considered Hitchcock's first film, but it isn't. It's like his third film, but film number 2 is lost, and I'm still trying to figure out what happened to film number 1. But given the outsized influence that Alfred Hitchcock has had on film history, and specifically once we get into the 50s and 60s, not to mention the television show Alfred Hitchcock Presents, I think it would be a great option. Now, I will say this. I just did a quick check, and so long as we use the non-restored version, we are in the clear as far as public domain.
Okay.
Apparently, the restored versions don't come into public domain until 2050.
Okay, so we're a little off on the restored version.
Yes, but a non-restored version, and there are apparently plenty of those floating around, that one is considered okay.
Most excellent.
And I think I actually located it, and I will send you the link in a hot minute.
Perfect.
All right. So any last words? For the evening, not like for life.
Yeah. Anybody up for a raid?
Maybe. What are you thinking?
Well, Lord Slang's playing some Diablo 4, I think that is.
Okay. Well, I could pop in for about a hot second. But
Okay.
after that, it's midnight and, well, I'm turning into a pumpkin.
That's fair. Other than that, thank you all for showing up. I hope you have a good day, night, whatever it is, wherever you are. And I hope to see you next time. Have a good one.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
All right.